Okay, this is a review and teardown of an Ikea light bulb, the Ledare 1000 lumen bulb. Purchased it in mid-2014. Okay, so here's the top removed. It's a plastic dome diffuser, and it was glued onto a metal carrier. And you can see, of course, a very large array of fairly small LEDs, and those, of course, are the emitters. So some further disassembly. Here's the emitter array. There's no thermal compound on this array, so its heat only can be drawn out, I guess, to the shell by the edges here. Again, not a super strong thermal management. And then inside the base here is the actual AC to DC converter. The gray material is potting compound. You can see they potted it inside a little sleeve. Okay, AC to DC converter, AC on this side and DC coming out on the right side. A standard topology in terms of having a full wave bridge rectifier here in the bottom. And that converts the AC to DC. There's some components here for what's known as conducted emissions. There's a transformer here, a large switching MOSFET here, and the control IC here. Let's just pop up the microscope photograph of the controller. It's marked here, and we'll talk about the data sheet in a second. And what other curious things can one find? There's a date code here. It looks like the circuit board was designed the very last month of 2013. When we flip it over, another thing that's really kind of curious is the solder joints look extremely shiny, extremely good. And that was the characteristic of leaded solders. No, leaded solders aren't banned in North America. They're actually quite acceptable. Very much banned in Europe, however. So I'm just curious if IKEA is using leaded solders in the North American products. Leaded solders are far more reliable than all the non-leaded solders these days. So interesting. It'd be interesting to test that solder to see what it's actually made out of. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, well, I can't find the markings in any web search, so off to the next step. I've desoldered the part from the assembly using a hot air gun. Let's do some acid D Encapsulation here. Okay, this is a slide, a little bit of two-sided tape, and you look really close, you can see a couple of little black dots. Those are integrated circuits. That's what was inside the little plastic packaging. So now what I'll do is I'll put the slide onto my microscope here and put the microscope camera onto it and see what we can see in terms of the dye. Okay, so I've de-encapsulated the part, and what we're looking at here are two dyes. I presume there's two dyes for electrical isolation reasons. Now the reason I did this was I'm trying to figure out who made this part. The outside body had MRVL, which gave me a guess that it might be Marvell, a pretty well-known semiconductor manufacturer. Pretty secretive. They don't tend to put much information on their website. You generally have to get information through a non-disclosure agreement. Anyways, let me put up another picture here. I found in one of the die edges, indeed, confirmation that it comes from Marvell. So, mystery solved. This is indeed a Marvell industrial controller. So, again, just a neat little bit of industrial intelligence you can do fairly quickly and fairly easily if you're trying to sort down an assembly. Okay, let's talk about flicker. This is an oscilloscope output of a solar cell with the light shining onto it from the bulb. And you can see there's a DC component, which is, of course, a light, and then the top here is the AC component. And you can get a better sense of the size of the AC component if you AC couple your scope, and then you can zoom into the waveform. So definitely a bulb that has some flicker on it, though. So the way to see if you got a lot of flicker in the bulb is that you just simply point a camera at it when it starts recording. You can see some banding, and that's just basically the camera creating a beat frequency with the bulb's flicker. Okay, power consumption is 12.5 watts. The packaging's at 13, so it's in spec. And the power factor is unity. Yay! In terms of light distribution, there's a polar graph. The light, of course, is coming out primarily actually this way, with not very much on the side lobe. So this is a fairly poor emulation of an old A-shaped light bulb. It's more like a spotlight. In terms of dimmability, it's just great. This is an old style dimmer, and the bulb performs quite well. Okay, let me tally the score for this bulb on the things that interest me. Is the light pattern any good? Nope, not very good at all. It's more of a downward firing bulb, not much of a good emulation there. -1. Does it have honest packaging? What I mean there, does it actually draw the number of watts it says it does? I'm certainly finding some vendors who seem to stretch the truth. This one was honest. It was definitely drawing what the printed box said. Power factor was near unity, so another +1 for that. The dimmability was quite good, actually, so another +1 for that. Heat management, just having a little heat transfer here on the edges, not so good. A -1. So there we have it. That's my take on the IKEA 1000 lumen 2014 bulb.